All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our weekly showcase where we get to explore the variety of academic institutions that are available in the United States. And today we are traveling to the good old state of Texas, where we are going to be exploring what University of Mary Hardin-Baylor has to offer to us. Super excited to invite and welcome Rebecca to tell us all about this amazing institution. And if you have any questions, you can use the chat, drop your questions below. Rebecca has been to Nigeria, so I'm expecting you to ask a question about what was her favorite thing when she was here. All right, so thank you, and over to you, Rebecca.
All right, thank you so much. And good afternoon to everyone. My name is Rebecca Kay. I'm the Director of International Student Services at the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor in Central Texas. So we'll talk a little bit about Texas. You may be familiar with some things with Texas, but we'll talk a little bit about that, about the university, our application process, our different scholarship tiers. And then if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And we'll talk about all of those when we get to the end of the presentation. So bookmark those questions and then we'll discuss them at the end. So just a few things about Texas. We are the second largest state by size and population in the US. So largest state in the United States is the state of Alaska in terms of the size. And then in terms of population, California is larger than us in terms of population. We are considered the 8th largest economy in the world. A lot of the industries in Texas are fueled by energy, both in the western part of the state and then along the coastline. We have a lot of oil and natural gas. And then also we are one of the hubs for healthcare. So some of the best hospitals in the United States are in Texas. Agriculture, you may be familiar with cattle. We are a big cattle state as well as producing several other crops as well. And then more recently, we've started to see tech and manufacturing. So Tesla's headquarters are here in Texas. A lot of other tech companies have built large facilities in the area. Samsung has one of the largest manufacturing centers that they have now in the United States in Texas. So a lot of different industries that you'll find across the state. We're the largest exporter in the United States. Everything from our cattle beef to our smartphones, things like that. We do a little bit of everything. And one of the big kind of advantages about choosing Texas for your studies and potentially for OPT or things like that post-graduation is we have one of the lower half in terms of costs of living across the state. So compared to the national average, your costs for fueling a car, for your rent, for your food, it's going to be much lower than some of the other states across the US. So you have a lot of choice across the state of Texas in terms of, where you would study, the type of school that you would study, public versus private, large school versus small school. As we talk about the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor, I'll talk through some of the attributes of us and how it distinguishes us in terms of like our size and things like that. You will be the best person to identify if we might be a good fit within your portfolio of schools that you're considering. But we will talk through kind of what we bring within the state of Texas or within the United States for your potential study destination. So the university, we are located in a town called Belton. It is one of the oldest towns in the state of Texas, founded in 1845, around the same time that the university was founded. The Belton area is connected with another town called Temple. And within that metropolitan area, there's about 450,000 people. We are also very close to a town called Killeen, which has the largest U.S. Army base and a lot of Army manufacturing and things like that. So we have a lot of healthcare within our region. We service the entire region between Dallas and Austin in terms of providing higher level healthcare quality and those types of services. And then in terms of manufacturing, like I said, since we're close to the U.S. Army base, We do see a lot of Army-related manufacturing in our area, but we also are starting to see a lot of IT technology and IT manufacturing moving to our area out of Austin. As Austin has grown and expanded, a lot of the tech companies have been trying to identify towns within a close distance. And since we're about an hour from Austin, we are seeing a lot of those tech companies moving up towards us. So if you come to our campus, a lot of our students will fly into Austin International Airport. We do have some students that will come from Dallas as well, but you have easy access to get to both cities and explore those cities on the weekend. From Houston, we're about 3 hours away. So if you want to go and check out Houston as well, it makes an easy and quick weekend as well. So our area of Texas, it's called Central Texas. Central Texas is kind of famous for our hill country. So we have a lot of limestone kind of developments that create these really beautiful hills. And also with that have carved these very beautiful different rivers and lakes and things like that. So in the picture below, it is very popular within our region of Texas, especially in the summer when it's hot, to go on what's called a float trip, where you basically go onto one of these lakes or these slow-moving rivers that have been carved by the limestone, jump in an inner tube and just cool off with a nice soda or something like that, and just spend time with your friends and picnic and things like that. The picture at the top there, this is downtown Belton on 4th of July. So for Independence Day for the US, this is a very big event for our town. We have a few other days that have these kinds of celebrations in our downtown area, like Texas Independence Day, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, things like that, where all the cowboys from the area will come in and lead the parade and wave the Texas flag and all those kinds of things that you see in a US movie. So the downtown area of Belton is about a 7-minute walk from the campus. So if you come to our campus and take classes in the summer, you definitely need to check out like the 4th of July celebrations and things like that, and just explore the downtown area where we have a really fun historic cinema and a lot of different shops and antiquing and all those kinds of things. Very kind of quintessential Main Street USA kind of a feel. So the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor, we are the second oldest university in the state of Texas, and we are the oldest continuously operating university in the state of Texas. So we were founded after Baylor University. So Baylor University was founded as a men's university. We were founded as the first school in the state of Texas for women to attend. Both Baylor and Mary Hardin-Baylor now are co-ed schools, which means that we admit both men and women. We've both been co-ed for over 100 years, but we have this shared history that founding higher education for both men and then for women as well, back in 1845. So a couple of quick facts about the university. Like I said, we were founded in 1845. So we were founded when Texas was its own country, and you'll find a plaque on our campus that says founded under the Republic of Texas. So Texas declared independence for a short period of time and then joined the United States. We were founded within that window of time, and one of the few schools that were founded when Texas was its own country. We have about 3,000 students. Currently, we have about 45 international students that represent about 18 different countries. We also have over 60 different bachelor's degree programs, 11 masters, and we now have 4 doctoral programs. And then on the athletic piece, we'll talk about athletics in a little bit. We work in the NCAA Division III division, which when you look at divisions, it's based upon the size of the school, the way that their programs are funded. But one of the advantages for Division III is the eligibility process is a much smoother process. So if you are interested in potentially participating as a student athlete and competing across the US on behalf of the university, that process is a much quicker and smoother process within the Division III eligibility process. This picture in the back here is our American football stadium. So in Texas culture, football is a very big part of socializing and getting together with people and having a good time. And so you'll find as you see different high schools across Texas and the universities, they all have these big stadiums for their football. So as a student, you're able to attend any athletic events for free. So I would encourage you, even if you don't know the rules of American football or have never seen American football, to definitely check out a game if you come to our campus. It's a great way to spend time with your friends across campus, and, follow what they cheer for and things like that and learn a little bit about the game. This is a list of all the bachelor's degrees that we offer. So while we are a smaller university of 3,000 students, we do have a lot of different bachelor's degrees for you to choose from. We come from a Christian tradition. So when we were founded, only Christian institutions could be founded back in the 1800s. And so we do hold on to some of that Christian tradition. So you'll see programs like church music if you want to be a church musician, either in a traditional sense, like playing an organ, or in a more contemporary sense. But you also see a lot of really unique and emerging types of degree programs. We have a neuroscience program, one of the few in the state of Texas. We have a bioinformatics program, which is a very kind of emerging area of both IT and also medical sciences. We also offer pre-med programs for you to go on to medical school if you want to go on to an MD at another university. So you have a lot of different choices, whether you are looking for one of those kind of older programs that we have, like pre-theology or church music, or one of these more newer programs that we're starting to see across the US. With our postgraduate programs, you'll see the list here of the master's and the doctorate degrees that we offer. I put an asterisk next to the programs that are only offered 100% online. So for those programs, you would be taking them from your home country. And then for the programs that don't have the asterisk next to them, these are offered on campus. With our master's degrees, these would be 18 months to 2 years to complete. Our doctorate programs take about 3 years to complete, depending on your sequencing for your program. All of our undergraduate students are required to live on campus until they meet their 3rd year of coursework, unless you fall into one of these different exceptions that are listed below. With our campus housing, all of our undergraduate students, housing is available either in a traditional dormitory sense, where you have a roommate and maybe a small kitchenette space for your entire floor of 20 students. And then you have a dining pass to use in the campus cafeteria. We also have campus apartments, which are available for upper level undergraduate students as well as our graduate students. And these apartments are anywhere from a 1-bedroom apartment where you wouldn't share it with anyone else, up to 4 roommates, where you would have a common living space and a common kitchen, but your own individual rooms. And with those housing options, you don't need to have a meal plan on campus, though you can have one if you want, but you would have a full service kitchen in your unit to be able to cook and things like that after your classes. Like I said, with our graduate students, you do have the option for campus housing. You don't have to live on campus if you don't want to. Upper level class undergrad students, once you're in your 3rd year, you do have that option to move off campus if you'd like. And I think in terms of like talking about campus life, I think pictures tell more of a story than anything that I can tell. I'll give you a bit of an outline of kind of what some of these pictures are capturing on our campus. You'll see the 2 girls in the top left. That is a picture from a football game. So students do dress up, and they do get pretty excited about that. On the bottom left, we have several different multicultural events that happen throughout the year. This is around our Hispanic Heritage Month. We are a Hispanic serving institution, which means that at least 20% of our students come from a Hispanic or Latino background. And so we do celebrate, all of our different students, and the stories that their families bring to our campus throughout the year. The picture on the top there is from one of the campus worship services. So we do chapel once a week. It's optional for our upperclassmen students to attend, and our graduate students are welcome to attend as well. But we do a worship service or a chapel service once a week. The picture in the center there, this is from our Easter pageant. So we're the only university in the United States that during the week of Easter, we do a community event where we invite the community to come and we talk about the story of Easter. And then the picture there on the right, that is from one of our campus bands. So one of the advantages, we're a small private school. One of the advantages of a small private school versus other types of universities is that you have a lot of opportunity to cross over and do a lot of different things. So if you are interested in being in a campus ensemble for music because you love music, but you also want to play volleyball because you love volleyball as well, and you want to help found a new student organization or be a part of a student organization, you have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of different things because while we are a smaller school in terms of population, we do a lot of different types of activities and we have the same kind of level of access that you would see at a larger institution. So it gives you those chances to cross over in a lot of different interest areas outside of your coursework to be able to, cultivate your music abilities while also learning how to play frisbee golf and also being a part of the campus planning committee for homecoming. So that way homecoming is an event that you really enjoy or things like that. So that is one of the things I would encourage you if you come to my school or if you go to any other small private school is to take advantage of that very unique opportunity to be able to do a lot of different things and cultivate a lot of different interests. Our campus has a career center, very much like every other university across the US. What I would encourage you, no matter which school that you choose, is to tap into those resources in your first semester. So career counseling and resume reviews, these are free for you from your very first semester. And most universities will also do what's called an interest inventory in their career center, which basically what that will do is they will ask you to answer a series of questions, and based upon that, it will help kind of identify if the major that you're in is going to fit the types of careers that you're looking for. So it'll ask things about if you like working with a team or if you like working on your own. Do you like to have really set projects that you have to fulfill in the exact way that it's instructed, or do you like to be given kind of a prompt and creatively then come to that solution? So it's a really good way, especially in that first semester or two, to identify, does this major actually fit what I'm looking for? Or is there a different major that is going to better match what I'm looking for? So if you come to my campus or come to any other campus, I'd encourage you to talk with the Career Center, do those types of interest inventories to make sure you're on the right track and in the right spot. All services in a Career Center, whether you choose my school or another school, they are available to you from your first semester while you're in school, and they are available to you as an alumni after you graduate. So if you want someone to look over a resume after you're graduated and you're on OPT, or if you want to, tap into a mock interview to practice before you go in for a big interview for a promotion, these services will still be available to you as an alumni after you graduate. This is the list of campus athletic programs that we offer. So you'll see the men's sports that we offer and the women's sports that we offer. If you're interested in potentially competing in that NCAA level, so this is the highest level of athletics in the US. For the university, we pay for all of your travel. We pay for the health insurance that you would need while you're playing and competing for any potential injuries related to your athletics. We cover all of your equipment and things like that, and we help you cultivate as an athlete. I would encourage you just to reach out to me and I'll get you connected to our specific coaches for the sports that you're potentially interested in. We also do intramural sports, which is a bit more of a casual level of competition where different students at our university compete against one another. So it might be the biology majors versus the business majors playing volleyball or something like that. We also have a couple of club sports, which will compete against a few universities or colleges that are close to us, but will not travel to like Arizona or California to compete against other institutions like the NCAA does. This is a breakdown of our tuition and fees for both our undergraduate programs and our postgraduate programs. This is the breakdown of what we would need to see for the issuance of your I-20. So everything from your tuition to your housing, your food, health insurance, a flight to the US, those types of things. And we'll talk about scholarships on the next slide, but I just wanted to keep this up for a second so you can take a picture and make a mental note of that. So as a private university, our university leadership is committed to considering all students for admission in an equitable way and to consider everyone for scholarship in an equitable way. So all of our international students and our domestic students pay the same tuition, and all of our international students and our domestic students are eligible for the same types of scholarships. These undergraduate scholarships that are listed here and the transfer scholarships are for our first-time freshmen versus our transfer, which transfer students would be bringing in more than 12 credits when they come to our university at that university level of credit. These are automatic scholarships. So based upon your application materials, you were awarded this along with your acceptance letter at the time of your admission. For our postgraduate and doctoral students, the International Graduate Scholarship is an automatic award that the International Office awards towards your tuition fees after you meet regular admission requirements from your graduate program. On that graduate level, there may be other funding sources from the departments that you may be eligible for, like a graduate assistantship or special grants that they may have available for certain programs. This will be added to that as long as it does not exceed the cost of tuition. On the undergraduate level, you'll see kind of the breakdown of the things that we would need. When you're accepted, I typically will send out an email just as a reminder if your scholarship looks like you may be able to qualify for a higher amount. I'll send you the instructions of what I would need to try to get you qualified for a higher amount of scholarship. If you would like to see a template of what a graduating rank letter looks like, I'm very happy to send that to you. So that way you can send it to your counselors to see if they can write that letter for you. In addition to these scholarships, there are other funding sources and scholarships that are available for you. For example, this year the campus did an early decision scholarship where if you committed to the university by May 1st, you were awarded additional scholarship on top of your current funding. We also have a couple of major specific scholarships. So there is a source of funding for our international nursing students to help fund their education since we do have a nursing shortage in the United States and we're trying to help our local hospitals and things in terms of training more nurses for them so that way they can fill their hospitals with what they need. We also have a couple of other like fine arts types of scholarships and things like that. So as you go through the application process, I'll take a look at your profile and let you know if there's other funding or if there's a higher scholarship funding that I think you may be eligible to receive. This is a lot of technical stuff here. The basic summary that I would encourage you to bookmark is that apply.umhb.edu. For international undergraduate students, you'll fill out the international application. Master's degree students fill out the graduate application. Once you fill out your application, it will then generate a checklist that's going to outline these requirements as well. But in terms of what we would need for admission, for the undergrad students, we would want a copy of your transcripts. And then if your transcript doesn't convert to a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale, I would then ask either for an SAT or an ACT or one of those graduating rank letters. So that way I can see the quality of your academics to make sure that you meet our criteria. For our students from Nigeria, we do require either a language of instruction letter from your school, so that way we confirm that English was the sole language of instruction in your high school or your university. If we don't receive that letter, then it'll continue asking for a TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, or a PTE. But if you have questions about that letter or need a template of a letter to be able to ask your school to write, I'm happy to send a template over to you. This is the contact information for us. We are a rolling decision campus, so it means that we still technically admit students up until the first day of school. For international students, we typically recommend that you apply at least 60 days before the term starts. So for our fall term that starts on August 11th, June 11th is our recommended get all of your documents submitted so that way we have enough time to get everything turned around back to you. And then our spring term begins January 7th. So we encourage by about early November to have your application ready to roll. And that is everything that I've got for us. And so we will jump into any questions now.
Hello, Rebecca. Thank you once again for your great presentation and also just sharing those little insights and little tidbits about the university that maybe we might not even find out by visiting the website. So thank you for that.
Of course.
We have a number of questions. I'm just
Okay.
going to give people, I have some questions, and I know probably the audience has questions as well. So I'm just going to give us a little moment for people to drop their questions in the Q&A.
Sure.
Or in the chat, but preferably in the Q&A button so we don't miss out any questions. So for UMHB, what would you say are some of your most maybe top 5 popular academic programs, specifically with like international students?
With international students. So we have an electrical and mechanical engineering program. They're 2 separate programs. Those are very popular. Computer science and cybersecurity are also very popular. Nursing is our biggest currently undergraduate program for international students because we're one of the few schools in the US that will admit nursing students equitably. So there's no higher GPA requirement or things like that for international students compared to our domestic students. So that is also one of our popular programs. And then I would say business and psychology are the other 2 that will wrap up the 5.
So I know that your school is located in Texas, and Texas is more or less the second home for a lot of Nigerians. But do you see that your students need a lot of help adjusting to life in the US or the American system or the American culture? And if they do you offer any support services for them?
So I think it really kind of depends on the student's background. If the student has family in the US, I think their adjustment is typically smoother because they've had family that's kind of guided them through the process. For our students who don't have any family in the US, we work with our students in terms of academic advising to make sure that they're in courses that are going to be an easy adjustment for that first semester. We also have a program where we partner our new international students with a current student at UMHB to be kind of a mentor for that first year. So as they're preparing to come to the US, they correspond with them over email or Zoom or things like that, in terms of, which housing's the best or all those types of questions that they may ask. And then once they come to campus, they meet with their mentor or mentee over the course of their first semester just to kind of check in on how they're doing, both academically, but also personally, to make sure that their adjustment is smooth.
I have a question here from Alex Aaron, and I know this is a very popular question. Do you have like fully funded offers or full scholarships, or maybe probably assistantships, since it's a graduate student asking for your graduate programs? And do your graduate or your admission requirement for graduate studies, do you require GRE for some or all, or completely test optional?
Yeah. So we don't require a GRE for any of our graduate programs, both the master's and the doctoral level. We don't have a doctoral program in computer science. Within our doctoral programs, they're all partially funded, but we don't have any fully funded doctoral programs at the moment.
All right. So I'm not sure. Do you have any, but do you have some funding for graduate studies? Because I know you shared the table for undergraduate,
Sure.
presidential, vice presidential scholarships.
Right, right. For the graduate students, they're all guaranteed $2,000 to $3,000 a year from the International Office in scholarship. If they receive a graduate assistantship, most of our assistantships are part-time, which means that they get 50% of their tuition paid for by the department. So they could get the 50% tuition reimbursement from the departments, and then the additional $2,000 to $3,000 from the International Office as their kind of funding sources from the institution.
So do you require students to do transcripts evaluations, or do you do your own transcripts evaluations in-house?
So for undergraduate students, we do all of the evaluation in-house. We just ask that the students submit their 10 through 12 grades. If they're in grade 12, then 10 through 11. And then when they have their final grade 12 grades to submit it to us so we can finalize that admission decision. For the graduate students, we require a Scalaro GPA calculation, which is free for them to complete after they've submitted their application. And some of the departments, based upon their GPA or things like that, may ask for like a WES or a SPAN-TRAN evaluation to be done with their first semester of enrollment at the campus. So they wouldn't be asked to do it until they've gotten their visa and have come to campus. They would just want them to submit that to finalize the decision. Oh, you're muted.
Maureen is asking if you offer nursing. So I'm guessing if you do offer nursing, then the scholarship that you have would be applicable to the nursing program.
Yeah, I see someone wants to have the scholarship chart put up again. As lovely as these pictures are, I will pull that back up for everybody. And then we'll jump back to that. All right, so breakdown here. For undergraduate first-time freshmen, no matter what your major is, if you're taking an SAT or ACT and you have at least this score, you automatically get $18,000 a year in scholarship. There's no additional essay I need. I don't need to hear about your favorite color and, 100 words or less or things like that. Or if your school writes a rank letter for you and says that based upon your GPA, you are in the top 5% of your graduating class or your current high school class, we are then able to award that President's Scholarship for you. This is applicable for nursing majors, for church music majors, for economic majors. Every major is eligible to receive this scholarship. In addition to this scholarship, the endowment that we have for nursing majors, typically it'll be an additional 2,000 to 3,000 potentially in scholarship on top of whatever scholarship tier you receive as a part of your admission. So it would not be a one or the other. We would put them all together. So if you receive the $10,000 Dean Scholarship and then you're eligible for $2,000 of nursing scholarship, it would be the 10 plus 2. And then, like I said, our early commitment scholarship typically ranges from about $1,000 to $3,000 per year in additional scholarship. So as different funds come open from financial aid that ask for certain qualifications, I send that information out to our applicants or admits that meet those specific criteria. But this chart, this is guaranteed based upon you meeting whatever those requirements are on that profile.
So my second to the last question is, what would you say sets your school apart from, other schools maybe in the area or in the US?
So I think for our campus, we come from, that traditional Christian background. And while, we come as a Christian kind of university, students of all faith backgrounds are welcome to attend and to participate and be a part of the campus. I think one of the things that really kind of distinguishes us because we come from that Christian background, we talk a lot about social responsibility and the importance of using your degree for good. So having that privilege of receiving a higher education degree, whether it's, to be a nurse and getting a nursing degree, how do we treat our patients and treat people when they come into crisis with dignity and respect and with you know, all the compassion that they would need in that type of situation. So we not only like teach the degree and how to do the degree, but also how do we live our life after we receive this degree, and why do we study these things, and you know, it's not only for our betterment, but also for the betterment of people around us. So there's a lot of conversations that happen like that across our campus that I think really distinguishes us and really sets our graduates up with the right mindset to be able to kind of approach their careers after they graduate.
So I guess the other part of the question, which you've already started answering, but maybe my question will make you add more details to your answer, would be,
Sure.
what sort of students do you think would be a good fit at your institution? What type of students are you looking for in terms of,
Sure.
would, 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 would find UMBH their homes?
Sure. So I think students that have a lot of things that they want to explore in their 2 or 4 years of study, and really have a good kind of idea of the things that they'd like to do. So not only like what they would want to major in, like nursing or something like that, but you know, having a lot of interest in leadership and wanting to help lead a student organization, or having a talent in music and wanting to lead music for chapel or things like that. We love to see students that have a lot of interest, that we can help cultivate those interests to be even better than what they were before.
All right, you heard it here. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for such an excellent presentation. Maybe if you just go back to the last slide with your contact
Of course.
information.
Yep.
If
I
you
think
have
we were on that
follow,
scholarship slide
yeah.
long enough.
If you have any follow-up questions, if you want to reach out to learn more about this institution, you can always follow them on social media. Their pages are very, very easy to find. I absolutely love your social media handles because it's basically UMHB on almost all your social media handles. So you can find them on Facebook, Instagram. They're also on X. You can visit their website, and you can also reach out to International Students Office and also to Rebecca TV here, who will be answering any of your questions, whether at the grad or undergrad level. So thank you everyone for joining our session today. I hope that you will follow up and check the website of the school. You might just have just what you're looking for. And also hope that you join us next week, where we get to travel to a different part of the US and see what other school is out there. So thank you so much, Rebecca, for today.